Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm absolutely stoked to be bringing you a review for the new Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Autobot Slammer. I got this toy far sooner than I expected to, and I don't know, just a bit of luck and perseverance, I guess. I had pre-ordered this guy off a website, and that was back when he was still listed as Wave 4, and they changed the waves around, moved him and Pipes to Wave 5, and they more or less deleted the listing for those two, but I refused to cancel my pre-order. I just kept it up in the off chance, and next thing I know, I got a notification that it's arriving and shipping. So I managed to get these two way earlier than I expected to, and I'm really excited for that because they're two characters I've been looking forward to for quite a while, especially Slammer. For anyone who's not exactly sure who Slammer is, he was the tank drone companion to Metroplex from all the way back in the Generation 1 toy. It was a non-transforming tank. Well, didn't have a robot mode, but it did turn into part of Metroplex's base mode in the form of like a tower, which, interestingly enough, they engineered this toy so it can do the same thing for the Generations Metroplex. So to me, that's really exciting because when they did Six Gun, Metroplex's other partner, they didn't really engineer a way for him to directly interact with Metroplex, so it always felt a little off to me. Now we get someone that officially becomes part of the base mode. So I'm really excited to open this guy up and change him around, do his different modes, and then combine him with Metroplex. That being said, if you've seen my reviews before, you know this goes. We're going to take a look at Slammer's packaging, then we'll open it up, we'll see the golden disc card he comes with, we'll see the instructions, and then we'll see Slammer himself in vehicle, weaponizer, tower modes, robot mode. Naturally, I'll be doing plenty of group shots and comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Slammer comes in your standard Kingdom packaging. Get your half window here so you can see the top of the toy. Then you see his artwork stretching around to the side. You get his tank mode, you get his robot mode with the ever-present, arc and flying lizards in the background. On the top, you just get more logos, and you get the number War for Cybertron Kingdom 33. So yeah, you can tell he's actually been moved around because normally he'd be, a higher number in the series if he's Wave 5. All right, on the back, you get renders of Slammer in vehicle and robot modes. It takes 20 steps to transform, then they get a little parts breakdown, and then they show him combining with Pipes, his wave mate, who's number 32 in the line. So they look really cool together, and because of all the white on Pipes, they color match really well. So even though I haven't filmed Pipes' review yet in its entirety, I might give you guys a sneak peek of him just so we can show them off together. I don't normally spoil reviews like that, but I do like the way they look, so I'll probably break my rule this time. What's interesting is there seems to be artwork of what I think is a scorpion on the background here, which is weird because he doesn't turn into a scorpion. Typically, that's reserved for beast characters that have a beast mode, so the background might be recycled from Scorponok. Could be possible. I don't remember exactly what his background looked like. Interesting, though. And then, of course, you have our ever-present Kingdom side panel. Here we get our Fate card, or Golden Disc card. It's a Black Arachnia one. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because there is a new one for the newer waves, so let's... Oh, it is. Nice. Okay, so this is a very evil-looking Black Arachnia, who's turned mostly silver, which I think is an homage to that time she got powered up on that floating island. And it says, let's see. Becomes... Dark Arachnia, okay. Herald of Unicron. All right. So, just like the Dynamis thing from Dinobot, she can, in one continuity that we never get to see, become a Herald of Unicron and become Dark Arachnia. So, I guess for her, that just means turning silver and getting a staff. So, that's something, I guess. It's okay. Not as cool as Dynamis, though. Okay, now we get our instructions for Slammer. So you get his render, name, number 33, all your logos. We open this up. First thing we get is a little how-to for attaching the cannon to his hand, or fist, I guess. So he's got those weird, peg-out fists like Combiner Wars Rook does. The big difference, though, is that he still actually gets 5mm holes in his hand. So, he can still be useful. Unlike Rook, who can only hold things like they're brass knuckles or something. All right, and then we just go straight to our transformation from robot to tank mode. And on the back side, we get the disassembly instructions for separating them into his little weaponizing pieces. Layout of the different pieces, and then a how-to for attaching them to weaponize one of the characters. Now, in this case, they use Wheeljack, who actually is in this new wave, or he's in the 4th wave. I forget. I think he's 4th wave. 5th wave, I think the repacks are Black Arachnia and Air Razor, if I remember right. So Wheeljack's here. They don't show pipes, interestingly enough. Maybe they designed this guy before they designed pipes. Who knows? And it just shows you how to load them out. I'm going to use pipes, though, because we've seen plenty of Wheeljack in my reviews. I think we can retire him for a little bit. Now, unfortunately, you see, there are no instructions for that tower mode that I mentioned. So that means they leave it up to us to do the guesswork and figure it out. And all we have to go off of is, like, screen caps of a live stream they did where they showed off a prototype attached to Metroplex. So I'm just going to do my best for you guys and hopefully come up with, the right transformation or close enough to it to get you there. Okay, so now we get to see Slammer in his tank mode. It's a very cool, very boxy looking little thing. It does have wheels on the bottom, 2 in the front, 1 in the back, right here in the middle. Unfortunately, they don't roll very well, especially the back one. It gets hung up a lot. So expect it to drag more than actually roll, except on maybe, I don't know, carpeted surface or something. But aside from that, it does look very good. It's very filled out for the most part. A little bit of a gap right here under the turret. But even the back's nice and filled out. Very nice looking. And your tank turret, it can move up and down on what are really the robot's elbow joints. So it can do that. It can't rotate, though. If you try to rotate, it just kind of falls apart. It's not meant to do that. It's unfortunate that it can't turn, but at least it can point up and down. That's pretty cool. And it's got to do a bunch of different things here, so I'm not too hung up on the fact that it doesn't actually rotate. But it still looks really, really good. I like the paintwork. There's quite a bit of paintwork on this guy. There's a lot of black and silver along the sides. You get some silver up here, some silver on the muzzle, Autobot symbol on the front. I think all the paint's pretty much like black and silver, dark gray and silver. Except the eyes. He has blue eyes, I believe. So pretty cool looking overall. I like the tank mode. Okay, here's a quick group shot with all of the other Titan partner weaponizers. And these are all toys that have been released across all 3 chapters of the War for Cybertron Trilogy. So from Siege, you get Fort Max's partner Cog, as well as Metroplex's other companion, 6-Gun. Siege also brought us Brunt, who is the tank drone for Trypticon. And then in Earthrise, we got Fast Track for Scorponok, and his recolor Black Rorichi for Scorponok's recolor Black Zarek, who's getting a toy very soon, by the way. It should be arriving here in the next month or so I'm pretty stoked for that, because he looks amazing. And then, of course, in our final chapter, Kingdom, we get Slammer to finish off Metroplex's companions. Now, Metroplex has another companion in the form of Scamper, but he was already included with the Thrilling 30 Metroplex and has his own toy. He's a bit smaller than these guys. He's like legend size, and he doesn't weaponize or anything, but he is still there. So there's the vehicle modes. They have a very techno-body feel to them. Like, none of them look like realistic vehicles. They all look like some sort of science fiction vehicles. So at least they have kind of that shared aesthetic going on. And because all 6 of these were released in the same trilogy, they have, the same general aesthetic too, as far as, surface detailing, all that. All right, next I'm going to show off the transformation to the tower mode. And I'm positive I've got this about 90% down. There's one thing I don't really know where it goes, and we'll talk about that. So to transform to the tower mode, you basically start here at the tank. Not too hard. You're going to pull this whole turret area up, which includes the arms, these pieces here. Then you're going to take this bit, rotate it upward till it sits completely vertical, like so. We'll rotate this around per the pictures we saw. You don't want the gaps facing forward. Then we take the cannon off this little connector piece, and you're attaching it here. And per the image, we had it with this like little dotted line bit on the muzzle here, like facing forward. And then lastly, you take this little area, you connect this little black piece here. And this one 5mm post is what we're going to use to attach it to Metroplex. Now, what I don't know what to do with is the arms here. Based on the few pictures that are circulating on the internet from that live stream, you cannot see the arms at all from like a forward-facing position, like the angle I had it. And I mean, I pored over these images for a good while before doing this part, and they are not visible. And there's only one place you can really put them to achieve that, and I'll show it to you. Doesn't mean it's where they're supposed to go. In fact, they may just leave them off, kind of like they do it Fast Track in his Tyrant Spear mode, which is a shame. I don't like leaving parts just kind of hanging out somewhere, but that may be the intention. I don't know. Maybe they'll eventually put out official instructions or images online, but for now, it's just kind of a guessing game. So let's bust out Metroplex and see all this. Okay, so here's Metroplex, breaking him out for the first time in a while, especially when it comes to the base mode. I haven't done this one in a while. So we get Slammer in his tower mode, and using this one little post, he's going to plug into a 5mm port right here, this little rounded area. And I suggest when pushing down, because it's kind of a tight fit, push down here. Don't push, like grab here and push down, because you'll probably make this guy kind of fall apart. So you just get him on there and work all the way down, as far down as it goes. And you should get something that looks like that. And this is fairly close to the angle that they had in the live stream. I think that one was angled up a little bit more. So now we come to the question of what to do with these guys, the hands. And the only thing I can think of that would recreate the image I saw, in which these hands were not at all visible, like given the angle that we were at, is just attaching them like this, just kind of end to end, and you plug them onto a 5mm post right back here at the very base of the tower. And they just kind of hang off the back. You can see them right here. The angle that, the photo is at, you couldn't see them like this. And that's really all I can think of, short of them just leaving the arms off completely, which I really hope that's not the plan. I hope that's not the case, because it doesn't look great, like when you just have parts laying around. I wasn't crazy about when they did it with Fast Track, and I'm really hoping they don't do it here either. But we're not going to know for sure, of course, until Hasbro comes out with something and shows us exactly what we're supposed to do. And here's another fun little shot with the Metroplex base, as well as all of his companions in their vehicle modes kind of cruising around it. So, of course, we get Slammer here, 6-gun again, and then here is Scamper, little car. So, we can finally fully recreate the feel of having a Generation 1 Metroplex, just now, upgraded to the Generations level of, posability and detail and all that. Now, of course, the Thrilling 30 Metroplex does take some liberties with the design. Doesn't look exactly like the G1 toy. And he's also, the oldest Titan class figure that we have, so he's the most simplistic. He really doesn't match up to the standards of more recent figures like Scorponok and the Ark and all that, but still very cool. Also, if you really want to be a stickler, the original 6-gun here wouldn't have been a little spaceship. He actually was originally just made up of Metroplex's weapons, like including the big red cannon there. It's actually what formed his feet originally. So it's not a one-for-one. I know a lot of people have been hankering for a redo of Metroplex and getting something that's, a little better made and just closer to the G1 toy. And we are getting a Titan-class Metroplex this next year. However, for anyone that's seen it, they know it is the Unicron Trilogy Metroplex, not Generation 1. So you're probably going to be very disappointed there. I do wonder if they're going to do some little nod to this, though, and perhaps make these guys compatible with that Metroplex just for a little bit of crossplay. I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But overall, I'm satisfied enough with this. If I want to build a big old Autobot city or something, I feel that I have everything I need to have fun with it. Okay, now we're going to do our transformation into his component pieces, and then attach him to pipes to weaponize him. So the first thing you do, we're starting from the tank mode, but you could easily start from the tower mode because a lot of this is close to that. So you go ahead and remove this piece again. You bring this one up yet again, just like you did for the tower. Now, the instructions tell you to take this part off, which you can, but you really don't have to because it goes right back on there for the weaponizing thing, so personally I would just leave it on. These you're going to take apart completely. Disassemble them all the way. Straighten the elbows out, like so. And you're going to detach the front half of the tank from the back half. Like this. You want to go ahead, spin this around just like you did for the tower mode. Leave that alone. And we are going to separate the legs for all this back kibble stuff. Gonna take the shoulder pieces off. I mean, he really comes apart. You're gonna remove the treads from all this. All right, so we got him really broken down here. Next, we can grab this piece and his barrel. You want to hold it like this, with the 3 posts facing up. These posts here, the double post pointing down like this. And go ahead and attach the barrel. The same configuration you do for the tank mode with kind of all this techno babble stuff here facing up. Set that aside. You're going to take the treads. Now this part's really cool. You put the treads together, and then you attach them together with this connector piece, and it makes a chainsaw. A lot of people kept talking about the chainsaw. Now I finally get to see what it is, and it's really cool looking. Next, you want to take these shoulder pieces. You're going to bend these 90 degrees. You're going to take the arms and just attach them end to end like this. So you're basically assembling the robot arms. Do the same thing over here. Kind of keep them nice and straight. Out of the way, like so. And then lastly, take these. You bend these pieces up till they're nice and flush. So this here is our disassembled parts. Now, of course, we need somebody to wear this. So we're pulling out old pipes. Get your sneak peek of pipes here before his review. So we'll start with the little boot boosters, because for some reason, this is always a thing with these guys, is like becoming platform shoes for other robots. And Slammer here is no exception to that rule. And they're pretty narrow, but they are long, which is good, because usually the issue is the character's becoming too front or back heavy with these on. Luckily, he's got a lot in the front and in the back, so it should help stabilize him, which is awesome. All right, and then you're going to take this whole assembly, attach it like a backpack, like so. You're going to splay these little hip joints out. And then you're going to take the boots or the feet, connect them here. And you got these big old like missile pod things that go over the shoulders. These are cool. These look awesome. So it's really decked out here. Then you take the tank cannon. Officially you attach it on this side, but it really doesn't matter what side you do. You do that, and then you take the chainsaw and attach it here. Kind of straighten everything out, like so. Get some posing going on. Adjust my camera. Boop. Real-time camera adjustment. Behind the scenes look. All right, so here we go. Here's a fully weaponized pipes combined with Slammer. And I like this. A lot of the weaponizers, and especially the modulators, end up having some really goofy looking like armor up or weapon up modes. Some of them you really have to squint and use your imagination. This one I love because it's very straightforward. You get a chainsaw, you get a cannon, and then you get missile pods on the shoulders. It's much more obvious what all this is trying to be. Now I will say that the little height boosters here, they don't look quite as good as some of the other ones because they're so thin and kind of curved. But functionally, I think they're the best ones I've ever seen because there is so much front and back coverage that it really shouldn't matter whose feet you attach these to. They should get plenty of balance from these. So that is cool because, like I said, once you attach everything, these guys tend to become usually back heavy, sometimes maybe front heavy. But all the support back here is great because Pipes is not trying to flop down or anything. Now, if he had weak knees, maybe he would bend back at the knees, but he won't be tipping over from his feet because he is nice and stable. And I gotta say, they look really, really good together. So, there's that. He only gets one official weaponizer mode as opposed to the usual 2, but I guess we can make up for it because he does get the tower mode. Even though they didn't bother to put that on the instructions. Thanks for that, guys. Okay, now that we have Slammer back to his component parts, let's go ahead and assemble his robot mode. So we can go ahead, flip his head up, turn it around. And for this piece, you want to swing this up inside until it clips in. There's like a little, see that little clip in there that that 5mm post plugs into? And make sure, you know, the right side of his pelvis is facing forward. You want the holes in the back here. We can go ahead, you know, swing his feet, or his, I guess, knees upward. Extend those legs out. Plug him in here, like so. Get him standing. What's cool is he actually gets some sort of a, not so much an ab crunch, but like back crunch or ab extension, just because of his transformation, so it's really neat. All right, so get all this functional work in here. Then we're gonna attach the arms, and the arms are already configured the way they need to be. Just gotta turn the elbows this way, plug the arms in, et voila. All right, and now for all his back kibble stuff, I'm gonna pull this off of the treads, separate them, take this cannon off, and then you're gonna attach the treads to this like big old backpack piece. And you have to do it in a way, let's see, you want all this facing outward, then you want the treads facing, I'll get this, guys, facing like this. Because they have to be able to plug in and have this little groove like go over this piece right here. So you get something like that right here. And then we take his little single connector piece, just stick it up there, turn around and plug this into his back like so. So he gets a little bit of back kibble. And then the cannon you just take and attach right here to one of the little posts on his hand. And there it is. This is Slammer's never before seen robot mode. And I love it. He's super boxy. He looks like, you know, something that would turn into a futuristic tank. He's got great posability. The head, of course, is on a ball joint. We have a full waist swivel, which actually is not encumbered by the back kibble. Imagine that. He even gets that inadvertent like back crunch, which is neat. Universal hips, single bend knees, thigh swivel, ankle tilt, all that. Universal shoulders, bicep swivel, one elbow bend. Pretty much what you'd expect at the deluxe class price point. So he looks really good like this. You can, however, if you want to arm him up a little bit more, and I think this is something that's official because it's actually on the back of the box on the render, though they don't show it in the instructions, you can always have him wield his own chainsaw weapon. And all you have to do for that is take this piece off, pull the treads off here, and it still leaves his back like covered so it's not empty. It's a pretty tight fit on these. There you go. So you see that he's still got coverage on his back. Doesn't look weird or anything. And then we could do what we did for that weaponizing mode. Just attach the treads together, plug it in like so, and then attach it to his forearm. And he can have his awesome chainsaw. Because the only thing cooler than a tank is a tank with a chainsaw. I believe it was Confucius that said that. So yeah, whether you choose to deploy the chainsaw or just keep it on his back, either way, he looks awesome. And he's got so much surface detail. I love this. In fact, I think his pelvic area, this piece right here specifically, I believe that's reused from the Ironworks toy from Earthrise. I know at least this bit right here is. I don't know if the actual middle part is or not, but yeah, a little bit of a partial, as they call it these days. I call it part sharing or retools. They call it partials now. I guess that's like the new industry term. Either one works. Not really hung up on vocabulary. Here's another fun group shot with the other Titan partner weaponizers. Again, 6-gun, Cog, Brunt, Fast Track, and Black Rorichi. And now that we have Slammer, we're more or less complete as far as the Titan companions. If you want to get technical, we still don't have a version of Cog that goes with the Legends Grand Maximus, you know, that one Takara exclusive. I don't really count on them releasing that here, you know, in the Hasbro markets because it was such a low production run, exclusive kind of thing, I don't know if they're really going to go out of their way to make a new cog, or preferably if they gave like Grand Max's cog a different name so he's not just another cog. Maybe call him Spring or Sprocket or something. But yeah, I would like to see that. A bright red Grand Max cog. I don't see it happening. Could be wrong. And then if you want to get even more technical, there are a couple of city formers we just don't have yet. You have Brave Maximus from Car Robots, and then you also have Metro Titan, who's a Decepticon recolor of Metroplex, and he could get his own equivalent to Slammer and Six Gun. But again, not really going to hold my breath. I think they're probably ready to move on at this point now that they've rounded out like all of the domestically released Titans and their partners. I hope I'm wrong. It'd be nice if I'm wrong, but I'm not going to hold on to too much hope. And, for the most part, I'm satisfied with what we got. Honestly, I'm shocked we did end up getting Slammer because we had gone, so far into the trilogy, and a lot of people, I think, were starting to doubt if it was going to happen or how they were going to do it. A lot of people thought he'd just be like a Brunt recolor retool, and thankfully he's not. He's his own new mold for like at least 90% of him is. So I'm happy. I know a lot of other people are happy. And rather than dwell on what we don't have, I'm just going to savor this moment right here because this is a very cool group shot. Here's another shot of Slammer and his buddies hanging out at Autobot City, aka Metroplex. And even though Six Gun and Slammer don't exactly color match Metroplex, like their whites are off for Slammer and the red is off for Six Gun here, they look close enough to where this really does look like a huge box set you would get. I can only imagine how much this thing would cost, right? Probably be at least $200, for the full package of Metroplex and his three partners. At least 200, if not more. Though if they were, done as a package deal, I'd imagine they'd probably alter the colors to make all these guys actually match and be made out of the same color plastic. But still, I really like what we get here. And again, this set really finally feels complete. In fact, it even feels a little more than complete because originally, Slammer did not have a robot mode of his own. And Six Gun here could not exist independently of Metroplex's weapons. So really, you're getting more play value than you did originally. So I really like this. I love this whole setup here. This would look just amazing as a display piece. Now, personally, I keep pretty much all my guys in bot mode all the time, so I won't keep it like this because it takes up so much space. But if you got the open space for this and you want to make a really cool Autobot City or, even bigger base with other Titans and stuff, this is a really good start because this just looks like something I could only dream of in my childhood. Alright, and I got one more group shot I want to do for you guys because it just doesn't feel right busting Metroplex out for this review and not showing off his awesome bot mode at least once. So here we go, Metroplex holding his little buddy in his hand. And again, they just look right together. They're both very boxy, very wide-chested, futuristic-looking bots. Their colors more or less match up to each other. And seeing them together, face-to-face, they really just do feel like a complete set. Plus, I always just like an excuse to take pictures of Titans, because they're just cool. I love them. And this completes our look at Kingdom Slammer. I really love this toy. I'm really surprised by how much I like him. The robot mode, the tank mode are both excellent. He's got one of my favorite weaponizer modes out there. And he becomes a tower for Metroplex. A toy that is, about 8 years old now? So, the fact that they engineered that cross-compatibility with a toy that wasn't meant for it, I really appreciate that. Because one of my biggest gripes with Six Gun is that he didn't have an official way to interact with Metroplex. So now we finally get something that works, and it works a lot better than the whole Tyrant Spear thing with Fast Track and Rorichi, which was honestly just a floppy mess, and is also rendered, pretty redundant because Black Zarek is going to have his actual Titan Spear. So, yeah, I think the execution is a lot better on this guy. I think all of his modes just look fantastic. I love the missile pods here on the legs that you use for the weaponizer mode. I love the crazy chainsaw. I mean, how often do you get a Transformer with a chainsaw? I mean, that's some hardcore stuff right there. So, yeah, I think he is just amazing in every way. Amazing. You guys get that reference? So, I fully 100% recommend picking this guy up. Now, of course, he's going to be hard to find at first. This thing is just now starting to show up. In fact, I don't know any other place here in the States that have actually like shipped these guys along with, pipes, other than Big Bad Toy Store. That's where I got this one. So if you pre-ordered from there and you actually kept your pre-order from back in the day, you may be getting one as well. Maybe you already have one. If so, lucky you. If not, I would keep my eyes open. Even if you don't have Metroplex to, complete the set, you don't really have that special little bit of something there. He's just great on his own. He is a really, really good Transformer. He's a good Weaponizer. He does everything right. He's easily one of my favorites, if not favorite Weaponizer character out there. Of course, all that gloating is merely my opinion, so now I want to know what you all think of Slammer. Is he everything that you hoped he'd be, or are you disappointed? Are you impressed? Are you interested in Slammer in the first place? I know not everybody likes Weaponizers, and not everybody cares about, little nobody drones that used to not even have a robot mode. Any and all feedback's always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the new Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Wave 5 Deluxe Class figure, Slammer. And with all that said, I will see you next time.